Hello everyone, welcome to my political journalism news channel. The story for today: at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, the ASX 200 was up 1.2% to 7,147. The top performing stocks were Elders and Pendal, up 12% and 5.6% respectively. Elders gained ground as the agribusiness company said its financial year 2022 results were forecast to be better than market expectations. A company with lithium interests, Silver Lake, was up 1.6% after announcing it had taken a 5% interest in several local exploration projects. The company heading up those projects, Global Lithium Resources, was up 7.8%. Magellan was down 5.6% in the mid-morning as the fund manager reported that the amount under its management had dropped 10.5% to $69 billion. Its losses softened to less than 1% after lunchtime. The fund stock has been diving since July, when its performance woes started to become headline news. Paladin was the biggest loser on the benchmark index in early afternoon trade, with a loss of 6.3%. The ASX 200 closed down on Friday and is 4.1% lower today than it was a year ago. Several states and territories in Australia have public holidays today, which means trading could be lower than normal. More buyers come forward for Probuild. ASX-listed company SRG Global is snapping up Probuild's assets in Western Australia. The Australian construction company collapsed last month and it now has more than 2,000 creditors awaiting news on whether they will recoup losses. SRG Global is taking the Western Australian arm out of voluntary administration for the price tag of $15.2 million. That will assure employment for 275 workers. SRG Global stock gained more than 6% by 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The purchase follows an announcement last week by administrators Deloitte that New South Wales construction firm Roberts Company will also buy the failed building giant's operations in Victoria. That leaves arms of the company in New South Wales and Queensland still in limbo. The administrator's first report was delayed after Deloitte's lawyers described it as nightmarish. European markets recover some losses. The ASX's good fortunes today came after Europe also recovered some losses at the end of last week's trade. The DAX gained 1.4% while the FTSE was up 0.8%. Wall Street, however, finished its week on losses, with a drop of 2% on the tech-heavy Nasdaq and less severe pains on the S&P 500 and Dow Jones. At 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Dow Jones futures were up, along with those in the other two benchmarks. Key factors to watch on Wall Street this week will be whether the U.S. Federal Reserve raises rates, along with the ongoing impacts of the Russia-Ukraine war, and crude oil prices. U.S. markets analyst David Bassanis said his growing concern was the U.S. economy's performance. The still upbeat U.S. earnings outlook could be the next shoe to drop, he said, especially given the squeeze on real incomes from higher inflation and multiple Fed rate hikes ahead. Russia's central bank is expected to make an announcement later today about whether it will reopen the country's stock market. The Russian market has been closed for weeks as the country's invasion of Ukraine continues. That is all for today news. Thank you for watching to my channel. Please be sure to leave your comment and subscribe below for more news update.